So welcome everybody back to another ranking video, where today we will be looking at the 8 different Sackboy games and ranking them from worst to best. If you enjoyed today's video, then I'd like to quickly point out that we've made a few other ranking videos, including another LittleBigPlanet related list where we explored the secret pins. With that said, let's get started. Back in December of 2010, Sackboy's Prehistoric Moves was released as a way of showcasing the new PlayStation motion controller, which was due to be expanded on come LittleBigPlanet 2, which was subsequently released a month later. Sackboy's Prehistoric Moves served as a demo, with 5 unique Jurassic-themed levels and 3 subsidiary stages for extra side challenges. In terms of ranking this game, we've agreed to give this one the bottom spot, as despite being a fun mini adventure, it is only a demo and no more than a showcase. Additionally, Sackboy's Prehistoric Moves has a visible absence of online play, create mode, unlockables, and other general community features, so there's a pretty small incentive to keep playing this game past the story completion. And if you're interested to hear another perspective on this game, IGN's Greg Miller reviewed Sackboy's Prehistoric Moves as a 6.5 out of 10, criticizing the game's lack of lasting appeal as there aren't any prizes to collect. But despite this criticism, Greg Miller did at least say, if you have a bud who is as into LittleBigPlanet as you are, you're going to have fun.
Number 7, we have Run Sackboy Run. This game isn't a console game, but until January the 4th, 2015, it became a console game, but it is a mobile game, mainly. This game was released on October the 19th, 2014 on mobile devices, and a couple months later released on the PS Vita on January the 3rd, 2015. In the games, players have to run from this thing called the Negativitron, which is one of the main villains in the game of LittleBigPlanet 2, and can suck everything and anything into its mouth.
That's what she said.
And players have to run through the gardens, Avalonia, and the canyons, which are maps in the game, without getting shat on by the Negativitron. While running from the Negativitron, players can collect bubbles while running, which are used to buy things like new costumes, more hearts so you can survive longer and survive after death, and a ton of upgrades. While running, you can also collect stickers, which can also unlock this exclusive t-shirt in the game, which you can use across all LittleBigPlanet games, and it comes with a gnome toggle costume, a frog odd sock costume, a pigeon suit costume, and other in-game awards that you can unlock. Now, let's look at the reviews for this game. One positive review said, it's actually a lot of fun. The LittleBigPlanet theme is nice, and the power-ups, upgrades, and boosts are great. However, this game doesn't meet to people's standards. If you search up the reviews on Metacritic, it has 65%. On Eurogamer, it scored a 3 out of 5, and on Push Square, it scored a 5 out of 10. So it is a pretty average game, as the reviews are around 50 to 65 out of 100. One negative review said, the abomination is easily one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my lifetime. You should be a special kind of sicko to enjoyment out of this sorry excuse of video game. I'm sorry to any of fans, but you should really be locked up in the loony bin for a long time.
Okay.
So, why did we rank this number 7? The reason why we ranked this number 7 is because me and Luke haven't played this game much. Luke only got this game just to get the t-shirt for all LittleBigPlanet games, and I got this game, and I have to say, it isn't a bad game, but it does get very boring very easily. It is enjoyable at first, don't get me wrong, but it is repetitive. Overall, this game was alright considering it was a mobile game, but it didn't meet to our standards, which is why we gave it number 7.
As the latest game on our list, Sackboy: A Big Adventure holds the credit of being the most advanced game in both gameplay mechanics and graphics, completely branching off from the main Sackboy series with a new set of 3D physics. The levels themselves feel a lot more polished and have a lot more to explore now that Sackboy can travel in all directions. Also, this game has done pretty well for itself, netting 2 BAFTA awards, one for Best Family and Social Game in 2021 and British Game Award also also in 2021. Now onto my nitpicks about this game, and the main reasons I put this one in number 6. Firstly, the popit menu is completely absent from this game in substitution for punching and kicking, which kind of bothers me as the popit was Sackboy's most iconic gadget, so it's disappointing to see it cut from the game. And with the popit out of the game, this also means that create mode and community levels are gone too, so you can only play developer levels unlike most other titles on this list. And lastly, I'd be crazy to not talk about the main villain of the game, Vex. Richard E. Grant does an amazing job voicing him, and it's kinda cool to see him voicing a video game character, considering his career mostly revolves around movies and TV shows. But I will nitpick again and say that Vex is a weak villain. His plan is very cliche, and I wish they could have done more with him.
Coming in at number 5 is LittleBigPlanet VITA. LittleBigPlanet VITA is similar to LittleBigPlanet 1, 2 and 3, except it has its own storyline like the rest of the LittleBigPlanet games. LittleBigPlanet VITA is a puzzle platform video game developed by Double 11, Tarsier Studios and XDev. Surprisingly, the original creators, Media Molecule, did not create or even help out with this game. Why? The studio wanted to do something new, like focus on other games. This was like improving and adding much deeper PlayStation move support to LittleBigPlanet 2. LittleBigPlanet VITA is the 4th game of the LittleBigPlanet series, and the developers released the game on the 19th of September 2012. The gameplay of this game hasn't really changed that much. You are still a Sackboy, you can grab objects, jump and swing on things, basically the usual stuff. As PlayStation Vita is touchscreen, LittleBigPlanet Vita uses to incorporate this into their game. You can directly draw objects into the game if you are on the moon, and there are also new tools such as the motion recorder, the touch sensor, the touch tweaker, the touch cursor, the touch material and the layer tools. These can all be done by touch control.
You don't say!
Another cool thing is that you can use all tools in LittleBigPlanet 2 and incorporate, basically download them into LittleBigPlanet Vita. In every LittleBigPlanet game there is some sort of villain. In LittleBigPlanet Vita you have the puppeteer. In the start of the game, the puppeteer is a nice, caring and loving performer in Carnivalia.
Are you okay?
The player's goal is to find the puppeteer and stop his evil plans like fucking up the world, because that's what every LittleBigPlanet story is about. We can see this game is loved by the community and surrounded by positive views. One review said, "Amazing game. Everything from the beginning to end is a lot of fun. I love this insane game. The story impressed me and cutscenes are pretty awesome. Thank you LittleBigPlanet fans for the good user score."
LittleBigPlanet 3 took the original two LittleBigPlanet games and began creating the foundations for 3D Sackboy games, which Sackboy: A Big Adventure would further expand upon 6 years later. So you may be wondering, why does LBP3 rank higher in that case? The original LittleBigPlanet games had a charm, which the previous games simply haven't got. I love how Sackboy has an arsenal of creative gadgets, and even more, messing around in create mode and playing levels built by the community. Jack and I have so many memories of playing the original 2D LittleBigPlanet games, and there is no limit to what you can create on these games. So why does LittleBigPlanet 3 only hit number 4? Well, this game has two issues that stand in the way. Firstly, I think this game's story is kinda lame and a bit samey, with every world involving collecting marbles. And the biggest issue with this game, the servers. LittleBigPlanet 3 servers are absolutely terrible, and the number of times our lobbies would just keep diverting and forcing us to restart our games put us off a lot in the long run. I absolutely love the community aspects of this game, but again, it's no fun when everyone is lagging and dropping out the session. I really wish Sumo Digital had done something about this, and maybe this game could have even been better in the long run had they addressed this.
Coming in at top 3 is LittleBigPlanet Karting. LittleBigPlanet Karting is a very fun racing game developed by United Front Games, San Diego Studio and Media Molecule. The game was released on 6th of November 2012 and was specifically designed for the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 3 only. LittleBigPlanet Karting is the 5th game of the LittleBigPlanet series. In LittleBigPlanet Karting there is a storyline to it, like any other LittleBigPlanet game. Sackboy has to race against this character called the Horde. In summary, the Horde horde is trying to steal the craft versus prizes, and the player playing as Sackboy has to try and stop the horde. Like any other racing game, the aim of the game is to try and race through different maps and try and become first place. In LittleBigPlanet Karting, you can sometimes pick up weapons such as the Weaponator. When you pick up the Weaponator, it gives you a random weapon to use to your advantage. For example, it can give you a missile to fire at people, speeds up your own car. Your car can also become a punching glove so you can punch people out the way, or a rocket so you can go flying past people. There's also other advantages of picking up the Weaponator, like shielding yourself from other players. Players can also slap each other when they are close enough. Similar to LittleBigPlanet games, there's always a create mode. With LittleBigPlanet Karting, you can create and customize your own tracks. This allows players to do whatever they want to the tracks, to add weapons, their own game rules, their own tracks. In every LittleBigPlanet game, you can customize your own character and make them look however you like. With LittleBigPlanet Karting, you can also do that and customize your own car to look however it looks like. The reviews aren't that bad, but they are mid, with IGN scoring a 5 out of 10, Metacritic a 73%, and Eurogamer with a 6 out of 10. So, why did we rank this number 3? Well, we ranked this number 3 because we loved this game. Me and Luke used to play this game quite a lot and we loved it. We love how we can race against each other and use weapons, and how we can actually create our own tracks. I also love how there were different game modes. It definitely brings back a lot of nostalgia just watching gameplay of it.
The second highest LittleBigPlanet game. I remember first being given this game to borrow from a friend a very long time ago, and playing it day in day out. I was absolutely in love with the charm this game had, from its simple yet creative levels to once more the community levels and create mode, which I will continuously re-emphasize are two highly important building blocks in making a Sackboy game in my personal opinion. The original LittleBigPlanet didn't have advanced logic, voice acting, or fancy materials, but instead has the stages being built out of basic materials like bricks, cardboard and sponge, and all the NPCs are speaking in text with gibberish voices to go with it. Yet, despite the simplicity, the levels were still expertly created for 2008 standards, and again, very memorable. I've always believed that a great game doesn't have to be overly complicated and detailed to be enjoyable. For example, I think the new LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga game was a complete flop because it spent too much effort trying to look good that the fun gameplay side was lost in the process. Whereas LEGO Star Wars: A Complete Saga may look a little primitive, but is extremely fun to play, and still the best LEGO game to this day. LittleBigPlanet may be the first game of the series, and the least advanced, but again, that never bothered me because this game has everything the franchise needed to get started. And did you know that this game won 9 different awards? The simple nature of this game is what I think made it feel so magical. No overly complicated game menus, no overbearing sets of controls or confusing tutorials. You just jump straight in and fell in love straight away. And that, my friends, is why the LittleBigPlanet franchise is an all-time masterpiece.
And coming in at number 1 is LittleBigPlanet 2. This is the best LittleBigPlanet game yet, and most definitely one of the best games I have ever played. The game was released on the 18th of January 2011, and it was one of the most popular games in 2011. In summary of the storyline, Sackboy has to try and stop the Negativitron from sucking things up like people.
That's what she said.
You can go through different stages of the story like Da Vinci's hideout, Victoria's laboratory, and Avalonia. The story contains 50 levels altogether, 30 levels to ace, 20 fun minigames, and 12 cutscenes. As most LittleBigPlanet games, the gameplay is always similar. You can still grab things and jump onto things, etc. They also added new things to LittleBigPlanet, like new animation recordings to create cutscenes to go with levels. There's also this new thing called the Controlinator, which allows players to do specific actions like button presses and 6-axis birth control, etc, etc. In LittleBigPlanet 2, they also added the Grabinator, which is where you can pick up things and throw them at something or someone, and a grappling hook, which is where you can grab onto things like sponge and certain other materials. So, why did we rank this number 1? Me and Luke didn't even have to think about, we just knew instantly. Me and Luke used to play this game every single day. As sad as it sounds, the game was our childhood. We used to play this game every single day with different people like our friend Luzoid. I used to be obsessed with this game. Every time I used to go around my cousins, I used to play this game so much that my dad got me my first console, a PlayStation 3, and got me LittleBigPlanet. And in fact, me and Luke actually met each other on this game with the dive in option, and I met other people that I'm still friends with to this day. LittleBigPlanet 2 is such a creative game, and we love this game, which is why we ranked it number 1.